it's funny how we pick and choose stuff, right? So everybody talks about the Proverbs 31 women, and there's books written on that. But right there, and I'm an atheist, just to be clear, like my followers know I'm completely atheist. I do not believe in the Bible. Christian mythology, I think, has done us all dirty, and it did me dirty. So I'm no longer participating in it. But what about there's a verse where Jesus is with Mary and Martha? They're the sisters of Lazarus. And Martha's in the kitchen, right? She's in the kitchen and she's doing all the cooking. And she's like, hey, Jesus, go tell Mary that she needs to get in the kitchen. And Jesus himself says, Mary's out here with the men. She's chosen the better part. So, like, right there in the Bible, don't be a Proverbs 31 girl. Be a, what is that, Luke 20 or something? Be a Luke 20 lady. Jesus
Yeah.
said, get the hell out of the kitchen. He literally says that in the Bible. Get the hell out of the kitchen. The better option is to be out here with the men. So, like, the Bible, people cherry pick it. Pastors have cherry picked the Bible so that they can make women think that they have to be tradwives. And it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, and it gets back to certainly they like to pick that one and supports what they think, but then they won't pick the part about not eating certain types of meats or like wearing certain garment fabrics together or like thread types together. And to me, it just goes back to like when men say that kind of stuff, they don't realize it, but what they're saying is, I'm really tired and lazy and I really want to relax. Please give me a break. But what they say out loud is, I've got this moral high ground and this is the way it's supposed to be. But what they mean is, this is tough. This is tough. And I don't want to step up and put in the extra effort or support or hours or whatever it's going to take to make their partner and their family feel supported. And then they'll stand on some kind of excuse. Either I worked all day, I made the money, the Bible says this, something like that. And then they'll like that is their big manly chest puffed out excuse. I always use that phrase. Like people come into my chat and their chest is just puffed out, and take a breath. Just be willing to have a conversation and realize that the other 4 billion people staring across the aisle at you, the women, they are people. Like science says, you guys think and feel just like us. There's nothing different except for the chromosome thing.
Do you have merch yet?
I don't have merch yet. I should, right?
Or you did women people. I have all the feminist merch. So I have a man is not a plan. Fuck the patriarchy, all that stuff. If
Oh,
you
I
need
saw that.
more people, that'd be great. And any of my followers, please go over and follow John. I call him John the Good Guy. And we've done a couple podcasts and things together. John, the reason that I'm so intrigued by you is that we need men like you, or we women just like it's life with our cats. And I love cats, and being single is a great thing for a lot of people. But ideally, humans do need partnerships. Not everybody. Some people are better single. Some people don't want to be a partner, but we are wired for love. Stan Tatkin, a lot of researchers say that. And it's unfortunate for those of us who do want to be in partnerships with men to know that there's absolutely nobody good out there to date. And marry them, then now we're like the baby mommies of these little toddler boys who like that's the worst. The whole man keeping thing and being a caretaker to a grown ass human being is exhausting. We women are tired of doing it. And just to know that there's a guy out there who's teaching other men to step up and be equal partners in the home that's what we need. That's what we want.
Yeah. It pains me when they like usually a woman, right? But a woman will come into the chat. And actually, I think you had one a minute ago in your chat. I think a woman that would say, like, where are the men like these? I thought that men like these didn't exist. And that's sad. It's encouraging because I know that I'm not the only one, obviously. But it is sad to see that. It's sad to see that so many women have gotten burned or whatever, that they think that every man out there says, shut up and cook and clean. I hate that. Pains me. And I told you, I say this on my lives when I go live at least like once a day, that part of the main reason I do this is because I've got my 5-year-old daughter. I don't want her to grow up and think that I am not a good enough woman or partner or whatever, unless I do what the Bible says or do what my man tells me or do that thing I really don't want to have to do. I want her to be able to choose. And then if she chooses to cook and clean, whatever, that's her choice. But I certainly don't want her to sit around for 18 or 40 or 60 years thinking, I think I love this guy, but I really hate doing this thing, but I better shut up and do it, right? She's better than that. All you guys are. All women are. All men are. So.
I just love that. And that's like the new wave of feminism. That's our motto, is for our daughters. So I love that you talk about that. And on that topic, Linda Mason, Linda, I haven't seen you forever. I'm never on TikTok. So I'm just so happy to see some of my peeps on here. Linda says, I had 4 children, Jennie, and I taught my boys as well as my only daughter to cook and clean. And John, that's how we disrupt this future cycle. That's how we become the cycle breakers. That's how we stop this from moving forward. Like, it's 2025 right now. We don't want to be having this conversation in 2045, 2050.
Yeah.
I don't want my granddaughters. I have one little grandbaby. He just turned 4. I don't want that generation 50 years down the road. to still be having this conversation. And when category of the human race to be the servants to the other category, I want to stop it now. And Linda, that's exactly how we do it. And I've raised sons. I teach them exactly to do the same stuff. And I think that's a really distinctively different mindset that my parents didn't have and my grandparents certainly didn't have. Like my granddad, the boys went to Boy Scouts, they played football, they did their homework, they were working on careers, while the girls, they were in the kitchen. And I saw this in my own life. Like I'd go to grandma and granddad's house, and all of my grown-ass uncles after dinner would just sit at the table while we women cleared the plates. In
Yep.
my entire life, I'm 50 years old, and I have been to so many Thanksgivings and Sunday dinner grandma's house and all this stuff. I've been to my uncles' homes for dinners and stuff too. I have never once seen one of my uncles who are that generation ever go into the kitchen and do any of the work.
Yeah.
Not washing the dishes. They're not mopping the floor afterwards. They're not like putting away the leftovers or anything because they were taught these very distinctively gendered roles. And I think that we do our kids a disservice when we raise them as half of a person. Like, why should a bachelor not know how to decorate their house, not know how to meal prep for the week, not know how to run their washing machine and be waiting for this woman to come do that for him? And why should a woman not know how to not have the education, not have the job skills, not be able to provide for herself, get her own credit, buy her own home, and take care of herself? Women need to be taught that leadership. We need to be taught the whole package. Wouldn't you agree? Like, we need to stop raising people to be half of the package.
Yeah, 100%. I don't understand. I had somebody in yesterday, I think, that came in and said, I know that it doesn't work the way that John says it works. The other way works better. And whenever I asked, okay, what's your proof? What's your data? What's your logic? And this guy said, history. And I was like, okay, we used to not fly. We used to not have internet. We used to not have slaves. What do you mean history? And then, of course, they went back to their little messed up argument of that's the way it's always been. And if that's the way we always thought, we would still have slaves. We wouldn't have internet. Like we'd still be hunting bears for like meat and blubber out in the wild or whatever happened 30, 40, 50,000 years ago, even 6,000 years ago. That's what you think. And it's like the time is now. The time is not 200 years in the future when it's a little bit easier. It only gets easier to make changes like this for the better when people like us do it when it's hard. Otherwise, we would still have all those terrible things and we wouldn't have good things like the internet. So I'm not going to wait until it's easy and comfortable to tell men who disagree with me, hey, your daughters don't have to cook and clean to be good daughters. I'm going to say, right. And hopefully I make a difference to one or two of them. Maybe someone's listening right now and they'll open up. Who knows?
And that's the funny thing too, because like people cling to these certain things about history because I'm a man. I want to go to work. I want to come home, sit in my recliner, and I want to have the wife cook my dinner. And that's a magical feeling. Like last week, I pulled like a 16-hour day. I had all these scripts and a podcast and an interview to do. And it was like 8 o'clock at night. And I was still sitting at my desk when Kevin came home and I was supposed to be the one cooking dinner that day. And Kevin, this happens so often. Kevin comes home, my podcast has gone long, something's gone long. And Kevin gets out of the kitchen and he cooks yet again another beautiful meal. He comes over and sets it down. That feels magical. Oh my God. Like I'm eating this good food. I didn't even have to cook it. That feels amazing. So yeah, to
Yep.
history and to say it makes sense why men want this. I want to say that history tells me I just get to sit down at the table and this beautiful woman's gonna bring me all this delectable homemade food. That's history. But if we're really gonna cling to history like that and like traditional values, then we're going to live like the Amish. We're not gonna have electricity. I'm not gonna be on this TikTok live with you. I'm just gonna have my electric toothbrush and my cover with the gasoline in it. If we're going to be historical, if we're really going to cling to history, like that's the way that it's always done, we got to get rid of all the other stuff too. We're all going to go full blown Amish. So that
Yeah.
history is always bizarre to me.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, then you got a question in the chat quick. But if I think about it from my daughter's perspective, I don't want my daughter growing up and saying, oh, actually, I wish my dad wouldn't have spent so much time and attention on me because that's not what men did back in history. Like today I spent all day with her. I'm supporting my wife while she makes some of her Etsy stuff. I don't know if I told you that, but she's like starting to make homemade bags and clothes and stuff.
Like I want to.
Yeah. Yeah, I could show one off on the stream I got downstairs. I already showed off on one of my lives. But so she was working on that today and I had a super long day. And then I was like, okay, I'm tired. I would rather just sit here until bedtime. But like my daughter needs something. Like we've been playing games, watching TV all day. So I sucked it up and I took her out to the beach. And no part of her is going to grow up and say, I really wish my dad would have worked more and watched more TV while mom cooked dinner. Because that's what men did for the last 100 or 1,000 years. So from their perspective, from the kids' perspective, it's super important for us to get this right.
You just have so much common sense. I think
Mhm.
done men dirty by not having the expectation that they be more involved in parenting, and also just men going out and working in offices with briefcases and just taking off and being gone. That's actually not traditional at all. For all of human history, we have worked together in these agrarian societies where our children were apprenticing or actually working in field, working the businesses with this. So the fact that dads are now removed from the homes because of late stage industrialized capitalistic American lifestyles, that's not natural. That's not traditional. And we need to
Yep.
just, yeah, like we should get rid of corporations. We should get rid of outside jobs. Everybody should come home and work from home so that dads can also be involved